GIS application. Objectives. In this chapter, we will discuss about the GIS application in government and public services, in local government, in urban government, computer cartography, business and services, managing activities, logistics and transportation. Government and public service. Government users were among the first to discover the value of GIS. Today, GIS is used at all levels of government from the national to the neighborhood, and government users still comprise the biggest single group of GIS professionals. As GIS has become cheaper, so it has come to be used in the government decision making at all levels from nation to the neighborhood. GIS is used to inventory resources and infrastructure, planning transportation routing, improve public service delivery, manage land development and generate revenue by increasing economic activity. GIS application in local government. In the economical development, GIS is used in location of major businesses and the primary resource demands, and analysis of resource demand by political location suppliers and informing the availability of the local suppliers. In transportation and routing services, GIS is used in identification of sanitation, truck routes, landfills and recycling areas. It is also used in analysis of potential capacity development in certain areas. An accident pattern in certain areas can be determined by using the GIS. In housing inventory of housing condition, status, durability and demographics, along with the analysis of public support for housing by geographic area. Drive time from low income areas to the services facilities, etc. In infrastructure, GIS is used in inventory of roads, sidewalks, bridges, utilities and analysis of infrastructure by demographic variables such as income and population change, and analysis of schedule, maintenance and expansion. In health, GIS is used in location of person with particular health problem and application of spatial common time series analysis of the spread of the distance, common effect of environmental condition on diseases. GIS can use in tax mapping of identification of ownership data by land plot and analysis of tax revenue by land use within various distances from the city center. By projecting land revenue change due to land use change, tax maps can be generated. In law enforcement, GIS is used as an inventory of location of police station, crimes, arrest, patrol car routing, alarm and security system location, and it allows the police to analyze the visibility and the presence of officers in the relation to density of criminal activity and relocation of the police resources and facility to areas where they are likely to be more efficient and effective. GIS is also used in local level planning as in functions of data display, where GIS aid in the analysis of the spatial distribution of socio-economic infrastructure and natural hazard phenomena. Use of thematic maps to enhance reports and presentation. Ink with other database for more specific information. In land information storage and retrieval, GIS is used in filling, maintaining and updating land related data, that is land ownership, previous records of natural events, come up permissible user, etc. Zone and district management, GIS is used in maintaining and updating the district maps such as the zone map, the floodplain maps. GIS is used in hazard impact assessment of identification of geographically determined hazard impacts. GIS is used in land suitability modeling, where analysis of suitable of particular parcels for development is done. Application of GIS in the assessment of physical transformation of an urban area. Urban areas are complex, multi-dimensional system evolving out of an interaction of multiple agents at several levels. At a given singular moment of time, several transformations may occur simultaneously, which every human being perceives differently and comprehends individually. These individual experiences result from the perceptual and cognitive processes in the human brain also determine the meanings that we derive from our surroundings. These perpetual processes also determine the image that is created in the human brain related to the environment around us and is a selective process influenced by our culture and social position. This process of formation of mental images through individual experiences and recollection is always rooted in the spatial temporal context and by forming connections between the past and the present. It can help us in assigning values to the remains from the past and justifying the needs for their continuation into the future. The urbanization process in India and its pace of growth has accelerated over the past 90 years. The process of urban development is guided and coordinated by the development plan of the city. Most of the major cities of India do have development plans, but these plans are often vitiated at various stages of its implementation, mostly in qualitative terms and provision of basic facilities. In most of the sectors of development, the intent of the proposal is not adequately translated into the envisaged physical framework, thus creating differentiated, disjoint and undesirable urban growth. When the demands are not met in a guided manner, illegal occupation of the sites and services, land use transformation and unauthorized construction takes place. This is where the degradation of the urban environment starts off, and the issue of assessing urban transformation assumes importance. Land use and activities of the urban areas. The land use variation shows the need to integrate the preservation process with the planning and development process. An integrated planning process need to be defined which considers the reality as preserved by the user, such that the process is designed with the user's expectation providing the pointers. This interface of planning has to be flexible and transparent to accommodate the change in perceptions or values through time, rather than setting out rigid parameters or design constraints which predetermine the future behavior and aspiration of the community. An understanding of the underlying spatial patterns and social system is essential before any future interventions are carried out. This is important to avoid the dissonance that may occur in the resultant urban structure because of conflicting patterns superimposed over one another. A management plan for a city, especially for one that has stored links to the past, has to then necessarily start with understanding the transformation that have taken place in the city through time. Any planning has to evolve out of this spatial temporal context of the city, which further emphasizes the need for the integration of the research aspect to the statistical process such as urban planning. GIS in infrastructure and utilities. GIS technologies are also widely applied to the planning and management of public utilities. Organizations dealing with infrastructure and public utilities find GIS a powerful tool in handling aspects such as planning, decision making, customer service, regulatory request, standardization of methods and graphic display. Typical users include the management of the services like electric, gas, water, road, telecommunication, storm sewers, TV, FM transmitting facilities, hazard analysis and dispatch and emergency services. The typical data input includes the street network, topographic data, demographic data and the local government administration boundary. GIS in land information. GIS has aided the management of land information by enabling easy creation and maintenance of data for land records, land planning and land use. A number of municipal governments in particular have started to implement GIS in order to help manage the land information. GIS makes inputs, updates and retrieval of data such as tax records, land use plans and zoning codes much easier than during the paper map era. Typical uses of GIS in land information management includes managing land registry for recording tiles to land holdings, preparing land use plans and zoning maps, cadastral mapping. Input of data into a land information GIS includes political, administrative boundaries, transportation and soil cover. GIS in computer cartography. The growth of computer-assisted cartography has been largely dependent on the development of vector-based GIS. With the help of GIS, cartographic tasks such as thematic overlay of information, map projection, map sheet layouts can be performed much more conveniently. Continually updated geographic database provide an easy way to produce a new map editions. Automated map making and virtual map images have replaced traditional paper maps in many applications. Web-based maps have made general purpose navigation far more accessible to the public. However, manually digitized paper maps remain the primary form of data input in an automated cartography GIS. Scanned maps are also often used. Business and service planning. Business and service planning, sometimes called retailing application, focuses upon the use of geographic data to provide operational, tactical and strategical context to decisions that involve the fundamental question where geodemographics is shorthand term for composite indicators of consumer behavior that are available at small area levels. Example, census output area or postal zone. Geodemographic data are the basis for much market area analysis. The tools of business application typically range from simple desktop mapping to sophisticated decision support system. Tools are used to analyze and inform a range of operational, tactical and strategical functions of an organization. These tools may be a part of standard GIS software, or they may be developed in a house by the organization, or they may be purchased as business solution product. Operational functions concern the day-to-day processing of routine transactions and inventory analysis in an organization, such as stock management. Tactical functions require the allocation of resources to address specific, usually a short-term problem such as store sales promotion. Strategic functions contribute to organization long-term goals and missions and entail problems such as opening new stores or rationalizing existing store networks. Early business applications were simply concerned with mapping spatial referenced data as a general descriptive indicator of the retail environment. This remains the first stage of most business application and in itself add an important dimension to analysis of organizational function. GIS in managing business activities. GIS is about business. In fact, a whole new industry of business geographic is developing because GIS can affect the bottom line, improved product quality and provide new opportunities. There are few examples of how different sectors of business world are using GIS. Banking. GIS activities in banking and financial institutions include regulatory compliance, customer prospecting and locating new branches and ATMs. Business location and customer behavior. You can be more effectively place a business if you know your customer base location. The closer or the more accessible you are to the people who are buying patterns match your products, the more apt you are to be successful. Businesses can also compare market share with other surrounding businesses and adjust to changing demographic condition. Insurance claim adjustment. GIS perform all typical businesses and marketing tasks including identifying potential clients and determining the risk factors. And if you are an insurance broker, imagine being able to match application for storm and flood insurance with a map of over 100-year flood zone. Journalism. The media, especially the television news media, use fly-through zoom-ins and visual overlay of maps on an imagery, providing a media-rich and interesting product. Real estate. Real estate agents, both residential and commercial, use GIS to search for and select properties that match client needs. Some appraisers use GIS to perform mass appraisal of whole region at the same time. Trucking and delivering. Moving products and material is getting more expensive all the time. Minimizing route lengths reduces cost, speed delivery times, and increase customer satisfaction. GIS has tools specifically designed to work with road and rail network. Planning city operation and expansion. City, county, regional planning has long used GIS to track development, zone land parcel, assess availability resources, and plan for the future growth. GIS allows planners to evaluate master plans, monitor expansion, the traffic patterns, predict change, monitor population, and even decide the best place to put the new government planning office. Many GIS operations across the world are called planning departments, not GIS departments, but they often use GIS as a primary tool. Providing protection and emergency services. Police, human services, and emergency services are being to use GIS. Crime mappers can identify crime hotspots and move officers where needed. Correction officers can track their parolees. Hospitals can be placed where they meet the most need, and dispatchers can route emergency services such as ambulance and fire to their destination, all with the power of GIS. Land management and conversion. The major implementation of the GIS managed the enormous expanse of Canada's natural and mineral resources. In this and similar application, the software can help monitor fire and dispatch firefighter, monitor and manage disease and insect outbreaks, control land use and land inventory, select set-asides and erasement, track and manage wildlife, plan for ecotourism, and much more. Combined with today's expanding complement of Earth sensing satellites, the role of GIS in land management is sure to continue to expand. Military and defense related tasks. The military and intelligence communities are taking advantage of the GIS toolkit, which includes tools specifically targeted by those users. By combining top secret satellite data and visual evaluation from the unmanned aerial vehicles with the power of GIS and existing datasets, defense departments can evaluate troop movement, target artillery fire, test scenarios, perform supply and logistic operations, and monitor borders. The military and intelligence communities often rely on the same geospatial tools available to the general public, but they have exclusive access to certain data and data sources as well as some additional and quite sophisticated software. Uses of coastal GIS packages. Retrieval of information of any specific site, provision of summary data for planning purpose, graphical display of educational and public relation exercise, classification of coastal and management zone, predicting model to determine, projection of coastal changes, impacts of individual schemes, impacts from changes of use, impacts from natural calamities. Logistics and transportation. Knowing where things are can be enormous importance for the field of logistics and transportation, which deal with the movement of goods and people from one place to another, and the infrastructure, that is highway, railroads, canals that moves them. Logistic companies, example parcel delivery company, shipping companies, need to organize their operation deciding where to the place their central sorting, warehouses, and the facility that transfer goods from one mode to another. Example, from truck to ship, how to route parcels from the origin to destination, and how to route delivery trucks. All these fields employ GIS in a mixture of operational and strategic application. The field of logistics addresses the shipping and transportation of goods. Each of these applications have two parts: the static part that deals with the fixed infrastructure and dynamic part that deals with the vehicles, goods and people that move on the static part. Of course, not even a highway network is truly static. Since highways are often rebuilt, new highways are added and highways are even sometimes moved. But the minute-to-minute time scale of vehicle movement is sharply different from the year-to-year changes in the infrastructure. Today, it is possible to use GPS to track vehicles as they move around, and transit authorities increasingly use such systems to inform the users of the location of buses and trains. Summary: GIS is applied in various fields, right from the manufacturing to transportation, from managing to the logistic and services, government organization at different levels in rural to urban. Typical GIS application does include monitoring public health risk, managing public housing stock, allocating welfare assistance fund, and tracking crime. It is convenient to group local government GIS application on the basis of their contribution to assess inventory, policy analysis, and strategic modeling planning. Historically, GIS has been easier to apply to the static part, but recent development in the technology are making it more powerful as a tool to address the dynamic part as well.